Welcome back to Birth Month, Scotty. You uh, you ever watch a movie when you were a kid that when you watch it as an adult, you see it completely different from a completely different point of view? Well, that happened to me with today's movie, Radio Flyer. Wow. Now this is not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually a really good movie. It's directed by Richard Donner. It stars Elijah Wood, Joseph Mazzello, not Alec Baldwin, but Adam Baldwin. I thought it said Alec Baldwin, and when it started, I'm like, that doesn't look like Alec Baldwin. His face is always obscure. But I'm just like, doesn't look like. And then I'm like, I need to look it up again. I looked it up. Adam Baldwin. They're not even related. It's just I'm like, that's not his voice. Did they dub him? No, it's just I'm wrong. And it tells the story of two brothers that tells the story of two brothers, Mike and Bobby, who grow up and who are, little kids, they're growing up, whatever. Their mom starts dating this guy that they have dubbed the King and ends up marrying him, but he is very abusive towards Bobby only. And I know it's always weird when you hear something like that. It's only abusive towards one of the kids, but that actually does happen. It is very realistic, actually. It takes out on one of the kids, not the others. Usually when that happens, it means it's because of favoritism, but that's not the case here. I don't know. I just want to say, Shane, good boy. Good boy. Multiple times in this movie. Good boy. Good boy. That's the dog, by the way. It's not one of the kids, it's the dog. But, yeah, so I did not look anything up on this before rewatching it. I just knew, hey, I watched this when the kid. I remember that. They build the thing out of the radio flyer. They go flying, right? Holy shit, is that not what this movie is? I'm like, this movie's about what now? This kid's getting beat. When they go fishing, and it starts, this is when it starts, they go fishing, smacks him across the face, and I'm just like, what? Because it seems like a fun kind of film. The movie actually surprised me from the start because we get Tom Hanks, and I went, Tom Hanks is in this movie? That sounded weird. Tom Hanks is in this movie? Huh? Yeah, he plays the older version of Mike, who tells his two kids a story about keeping your promises. So that's what the story is. I'm assuming it's because it's about he tried to keep his promises to protect his brother, right? Or promise. I guess. This movie is kind of confusing, especially when you try to figure out the ending. Because I watched this and I go, because there's a line of dialogue that Tom Hanks said in the end that made me go, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Because as a kid, you just kind of ignore lines like that, but as an adult, you go, hold on. So he tells this story, and this might be like a shorter review because I really don't want to go through all the abuse, but and they frame it as when the king starts drinking, that's when he gets abusive, which unfortunately that's, but alcohol doesn't make you do that. The way it's portrayed is so that, but alcohol does not magically make you abusive. that kind of stuff, that kind of thing is already in you. Alcohol just amplifies that. So to say, because they always kind of close in on the can of beer he's drinking it and how that, as if the story's telling you it's because he's drinking the beer. But that's not. There's even one point where he says, I'm going to change, I'm going to stop drinking. But that doesn't inherently mean he's going to stop being abusive. He's going to stop hitting, because it's not the alcohol that makes him do that. It's what makes him do that is already inside him. It just amplifies it. That's how alcohol works. It messes with you. You know, it's one of those things where you're a good person and you drink, like me, you're a goofy ass when you're drunk. If you're an asshole when you're sober and you drink, and you're more of an asshole. Right? I'm just saying. That's why I've always said I'll never drink. I'll never, like, when I'm frustrated with something at work or I'm having a stressful day, that's not why I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink because I want to have fun. Because the minute I start to do it to get rid of my frustrations, that's when that turn happens. And that's when it hits you. I don't want to be that kind of alcoholic or that kind of a drinker. I'm not an alcoholic. Oh, my whole family's alcoholics. But I want to be that kind of a drinker. I want to be a fun drinker. I want to be one that drinks to relax, not to bury stress. You know what I mean? And I've only actually ever done that once. But I did not drink to excess. No, I did not. I had one drink. Now, I don't drink beer. I will drink vodka, but if it's like lemonade or something mixed in there. But I don't drink beer or stuff like that. Not whiskey or anything like that. I drink the fruity drinks. Like the Bud Light, Seltzer, or Trulies or something like that. So it was one of those that I had left over. I had 2 in there, so I wasn't going to drink to excess anyway. 2 or 3. And I got pissed. I was in a mood. I came home, I had 1. I drank 1. And I was like, you know what? I feel all right. I just needed the 1. And that's how I know that I'm not that big of an alcoholic. I will drink. I mean, I drank a whole case over a night, but I'm a goofy. I'm falling down, constantly having to go take a piss. I'm not abusive. I never will be. Never lay a hand on my child. Listen, tickle him. I bug him. He's gonna do all the tickle anyway, but I'll just come behind him and go, get him, right? Give me a look. I did it one time and he splat. He was that? No, he just splashed me with water because I tickled him before. I tickled him, he goes, splashed me with water. I didn't want to spill all over the place, but I'll never hit him. And if I do, that's there's no if I do. I'm never going to. I'm not that kind of person. But yeah, so this, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's hard to watch, but there are moments when I just sort of sat here with my head down. It you know, it's very serious, but there's also very goofy moments. Like, they think they see a monster and it's the dog. The buffalo they saw at the beginning talks to Mike as the monster in his closet. I don't know. And you could totally see this as the unreliable narrator. There wasn't a monster, it was a dog. Okay. There was no monster in the closet. The buffalo wasn't there. They didn't talk to the buffalo, right? They tell the story of this guy named Fisher. And it's this kind of story where you kind of figure out that not everything that you hear is the truth. That he flew off, right? Is that what it was? I need to look it up. I was trying to do this out of it. I need to know the story. Let's make this just in case. Urban legend of a boy named Fisher who attempted to fly away on his bicycle over a cliff named the Wishing Spot. I don't remember what he said, though. That it didn't work, or they think it did work. No one knows, I guess, is what the thing is. But towards the end of the movie, when they're at the junkyard, you come to the realization that this guy, one of the guys calls him Fish. He has the newspaper about Fisher hung up, and you come to the realization, oh, this is Fisher, and you see him limping, which indicates that maybe it didn't go as well as he hoped. But he does give them a tip. Hey, make sure you pull back and do this kind of thing. There's also a thing with the bullies. Like they go to get frogs, and the bullies mess with one of them. I couldn't figure out which because he's so young. One of them is Thomas Ian Nicholas from American Pie, and I couldn't figure. I can tell you which one it was. Ferdy. Figure out which one that is. I don't know. But, yeah. So Mike is constantly. They decide because at one point, he beats Bobby. The king beats Bobby so hard that he ends up in the hospital, and that's when he goes to jail. That's it. But the king's mom dies, and he's allowed to get out of prison for that. And then that's where he tries to make amends with her. And again, it's one of those things where you think, well, she's not dumb enough. But again, it is very realistic. There are wives in abusive situations where they can't accept it, and they just sort of keep going back to what they, I don't know where I was going there. They keep going back to trying to keep everything the same and ignoring certain things. But I don't know if I would be like her in that situation, because it's like, you put my kid in the hospital, right? But while he's gone, they use the king's tools to fix up the radio flyer wagon, which I had one of those wagons as a kid. No, I didn't try to jump off anything, but we did that. Maybe, I don't know if we had one or if someone we knew had one. We'd go around, pull each other in the wagons, We did that as kids. And make it into a flying machine. Yeah, and so they decide that they're going to send him and the dog because now, of course, I didn't like when he beat the kid, but I was ready to beat the guy myself when I found out that he beat the dog. I was like, okay, I'm already pissed at you for beating this kid. I'm about to kill you for beating this dog. Luckily, the dog is alive because it looks like it's dead, and then it pops his eye. Oh, and apparently it's just about a scratch because the dog is fine, but obviously the dog really didn't get hurt. Hey, magnificent dog actor, by the way. I don't know if he's credited, but you know what I mean? So they take him, Samson, which is the turtle, and the dog with. Well, they leave a note for their mom, and I'm like, I'm watching this, and I haven't watched this yet. I'm like, well, what if the king finds it first? Sure as shit, the king finds it first and runs after them. Now, first, you're like, oh, wait, is he going to try to stop them from hurting themselves? But he grabs like a belt or something on the way out, and I'm like, oh, no, he's gonna, no. But when it's all said and done, I don't even think we needed him to be there at the end. Because what does it do? He gets there, he goes after them, the dog jumps out and bites him again. And then he ends up getting arrested by John Hurd, who has like a cameo in this film. Basically, he's a couple times before this, I think. But like, yeah. And we see the thing fly off. It almost crashes, but he pulls the thing, flies off. Yeah, and Mike tries to convince the mom, hey, look, he went, and she could never really believe him. That is until the day they got postcard from him. And this is confusing when you try to think about the ending, but he gets a postcard. He's out there, and he says, over the years, he sent me more and more postcards. He's out there doing what he always dreamed of. And we come back to present day, 1993 or 92, whatever. Talking, I think he's like, you guys understand what I mean about keeping your promise now? Yeah. You got, and then he said, then there's a line. So you're sitting there, watches the kid. Oh, he got away. He flew away. But then there's a line of dialogue here that Tom Hanks says, as an adult, it really makes you think. You boys remember what I told you about history being in the mind of the teller? Yeah? Good. Because that's how I remember it. And you go, oh. Oh. So, I have tried to find other people's videos to get what this could really mean. Because ultimately what I came up with is that he crashed and burned and died. Like it didn't work. And it crashed and the kid died. But he was now free of the king. Other people have come up with this idea that they never actually got the contraption done. That the king got a hold of him. And so am I to assume that they're going all the way back to when he was put in the hospital, that he didn't survive from the hospital? Is that where I'm going? Is that where we're going from? I'm not asking you. Is that where we're going from? Is that that's when he died? There's also another thing. Because the kid said, Dad, can we ask you a question? Of course. Is that where we got Samson from? Now, if you remember, Bobby took Samson with him. So, yeah, he still has him. Because turtles, they last a long time. Sylvester Stallone still has the two turtles, Cuff and Link, from Rocky. They're still alive and kicking, at least as far as I know. He still got them. So, turtles, they live a long time. Right? Not as alive now, but it could be. I don't know. But, yeah. There was actually supposed to be another ending. From what I read, let me try reading this again. From what I read, there wasn't supposed to be a narration, and I feel like the narration actually makes the film work better than film's original ending featured a present-day coda, where a now adult Mike, played by Tom Hanks, takes his children to the National Air and Space Museum, where the Radio Flyer plane hybrid is displayed next to the Wright brothers' flying machine. Test audiences were confused by this ending, and reshoots led to the modern-day prologue and epilogue scene in the final film. Which I guess that it does make more sense to try to help out the situation where it's like, here, with that ending, it's like, okay, so why is it there? But it's also, you look at it, wait, if it's in a museum, I thought he took off with it. But, I don't know. Apparently also, and it's not here, but apparently also it would be revealed that the boy's last name was right. But here it says Marshall, so I don't know. Maybe that was changed. This is Marshall. And I will point out, I did say that Adam Baldwin's face is barely shown throughout the film until the final act when he shows up at the The wishing spot. No, I forgot what I was looking for the name for. When he first shows up at the wishing spot, and when he shows up at the wishing spot and confronts them, you see his face with the music sting going, dun. That's where for the first time, you see his full face. Yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those. Yeah. So as a kid, I thought this was a fun kids movie. They flew off into the air. And now I don't know so much anymore. I'll still give it a pretty good because I still enjoyed it. It's a Richard Donner movie. I'm on a quest to kind of. I won't be able to watch them all, I don't think, but most of them. I have conspiracy theory somewhere in my snap case, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts on Radio Flyer? Let me comment so much, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.